myself, yeah.
Somebody might think your most difficult time was when you lost your husband.
Right.
Was that the time?
He was not my husband.
Okay.
We were divorced.
Right.
So that's some of the misinformation that is out there.
And it keeps going out there like that.
It keeps going, oh, we were divorced for 2 years.
Okay.
So, you know, he was not my husband, but he was certainly the father of my child.
Okay.
And so it was very difficult, especially also because people didn't know we were divorced and so many stories went around that were not true. I mean, sometimes I hear some of the stories going around about me, or sometimes there was a time I was actually sitting somewhere and someone was sitting talking about me, saying how they knew me so well. And I was sitting right behind them and I didn't know them and they didn't know me.
Wow.
And they were going on and I was like, wow, who is that? Is that me? You know? But that, you know, you kind of get used to that when you are in the public space. I always say that to be in the public space since I was 17 going on 50, I mean, you've kind of seen, heard it all. So definitely it was a difficult time.
What did you hear that time that surprised you the most?
Some of it, if I tell you, your lunch will go bad, so I won't tell you. But
just a little bit.
You know, people kind of blamed me.
That you killed him?
Things like that. When I didn't even know where that was coming from. People had stories, and you know, it is not an easy thing for a woman to decide to step out of a marriage at any point. It's not an easy decision.
Yeah.
So there must have been mitigating factors, extremely, you know, difficult factors. And so you are dealing with that. You are dealing with the fact that you're a single parent. You are dealing with the fact that you are in the public space and everybody is talking and everybody has a thought about your life and how you must live and how you are and all of those things. So all of those things mixed together, potpourri in the, you know, and then I must say this, he was really a great man. We had a great friendship, and I think the friendship even carried after the divorce. So you've also lost a friend, and you are dealing with all that. And so it was a truly difficult time. But I have lived many lives in one lifetime. So I can't say it was the most difficult thing that I have. It was one of the most difficult things, but every aspect of my life, including that aspect when I was married, and other aspects of my life, I always say if I had to change anything, I wouldn't change anything. Because, you know, because everything has worked together finally to make me who I am. So your mistakes, your journeys, your difficulties, your challenges, your wins and all that, they all make you who you are. So why are you going to regret the mistake that you made or the, you know, the success that you had? So you have to own it. You know, so I always say that I am all of me. The good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful.
And we love you for that.
Thank you.
Anybody has questions? Do we have the microphone so that we can ask our questions? Yes. Last week, we didn't ask question, and I was nearly beaten.
Oh, my gosh.
Questions, why did you let me ask? Please go ahead and ask your question, darling. Your name first.
Please, I'm Miss Elizabeth. And my question is, there have been a lot of myths about the film industry.
Right.
Yeah, so most of our parents doesn't allow us to take that path.
Yeah.
So please, can you clear some of the myths for us?
Yeah. Some of the myth is that you won't make money. But this is the space, you know, when I started out, I wanted to be a lawyer. And everybody thought I was going to be a lawyer or an interior decorator or an architect or something like that. But I just happened to, at the time, my family went through difficulties. And so my parents couldn't support my legal dream. I always think it's a blessing that that happened, even though at the time I thought it was the biggest wrong to have happened to me. With time, I've come to find that it was the biggest thing the greatest thing that happened for me, right? And this space has supported me up to date, with nothing else, just this space. You can do whatever you want to do in this space. So people have a lot of misconception. You won't make money, you'll be spoiled, bad company, all of those things. Bad company is everywhere, including the banks.
Yeah,
you know, you
everywhere.
can even fall into trouble bigger there, you know. And so this is what I say. right now, the space is one of the biggest and fastest growing, is where you can make money very easily, is where, so if you love it and you feel you are drawn to it, talk to your parents, give them data to prove to them that, look, show them people who are doing well. And I think if they are confident in who you are and love their child and believe in you, they'll give you the go ahead.
Wow. We'll be reading messages very soon. So if you haven't sent your message yet, you have to send it now. 055-157-5757. 055-157-5757. Hey, 055-157-5757. Send your messages to us. I'll take one more question from the audience. Yes.
I'm Star Bright, and my question is, talking about parents' issues, sometimes the parents bring up some ideas saying that when you get into these industries, you end up becoming a bad person, like bringing up with dread, tattooing yourself, so they don't allow their kids to go into such industries. And also, we have little ones who are trying to become actors and actresses, but they are not getting the upper hands to help them get to wherever they want to get to. What is the industry doing about these things?
I don't know if the industry is the one to do something about it, but you know, I have dreadlocks. I've always had. I was one of the few people who started dreadlocks.
Yeah.
But then I'm also, it doesn't mean I'm a bad person. You know, my children are educated, very well educated I am. I think I hold up myself well. So I think that perception is changing in society. And of course, I've gone on, like I was saying, gone on being in the space, even now in policy and all that. So I think it's a misconception, but I think it is changing. So the way you carry yourself to your parents is also important. You know, there's a saying, when they say, let's say money spoils someone, they would tell you, money doesn't spoil anyone, it only brings out your character.
Yep.
And so if you are naturally someone who is not disciplined, then maybe if you find yourself in the space, maybe you'll be more indisciplined. But if you're somebody who is disciplined, then if you find yourself in the space, then you will be disciplined as well. The second part of your question was...
what is the industry doing to help?
What the industry is doing about it, and I said the industry can't do anything about it by yourself. But you see, the thing is, when you were talking, you mentioned actress, actors, which is great. That's what is in front of the camera. Remember, there's so much more to the film space. Even when it comes to the film space down the value chain, there's so many businesses. Even when it comes to shooting a film, for instance, we are here, you're seeing me and Madame on stage, but there's a cameraman, there's a sound man, there's a, you know, probably a carpenter somewhere, electrician somewhere, there's a designer, there's a makeup artist. So I'm saying all this to say there's so much you can do in the film space beyond act, right? You don't have to be an actor. You can be a cinematographer. You can be a writer. Some of the spaces, some of the skill sets that we need, we don't have enough script writers. We don't have enough directors. We don't have enough sound engineers and sound people. We don't have enough lighting people. We don't have all of these things, designers, stage design. Today I'm going to go and visit, God willing, Props Heaven. Props Heaven is a designer. He's made it into a business where he's supplying props to films that come and shoot. So there's so many businesses down the value chain. You have to educate yourself and find out what exactly or where you want to fit. Someone sent me a message on social media today telling me they want to get into the film space, asking for advice. And I asked them one question. Have you checked out, say, the national NAFTI? I used to be the board chair of NAFTI. And he said no. And I thought, okay, but you want to be in the film space, you could have done research. Now there's Google. You could have just researched training spaces in Ghana. You would have known, but you had to come on social media and ask me to come and tell you about NAFTI. And so you have to do the work yourself. Yeah. Sometimes I think recently I was having a conversation with someone and we're talking about the way that because there's so much available to us now, sometimes we become lazy. But you should use what is available to you. The internet is there. Educate yourself. You can even, now if you want to get into the space, you don't even have to go to school. You can, educate yourself online. YouTube is the biggest educator. Coursera.
True.
All of these things are there. You can use it, and there's a saying, if you want to make a film, just do it. Or live life. You can pick a camera, your phone, you can start to make content, and before you realize you are, if you want to go talk to your parents, you show them something, look at what I've done. You can put it on YouTube and monetize it, and before you realize you are making money. So, barriers to entry in the space is really low. But if you don't do the work, nobody is going to do it for you.